Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you are all well. Today we're going to tie a nymph, and it is a nymph specifically designed for sight fishing. It is from a very good source, in fact a world champion fly angler, and so the pedigree is first class. Let's get into the tying. In the vise I have a size 16 nymph hook with a 2.5 copper bead, and I'll be tying with black 12/0 thread. So let's just set the bead. Now obviously the size bead that you use will be dependent upon how deep the fish is, the flow, the current of the river, and you will have to make the decision based on those factors. Trim off the excess thread. For the tail I'm going to be using Coq de Lion medium pardo. I'll just take off a few fibres. And we'll tie those in. I am going to make this tail just a little bit longer than normal, and that will stop the fly being front heavy. Well, it won't stop it, but it will reduce the likelihood. It will make it go down into the water just a little more on the level. Yeah. Now the rib that we're going to use is black glitter. So I'll cut a length off of that. Spool nearly fell on the floor. That was what all the extra movement was about. And I'll tie that down. And trim up the excess. Now, the body of the fly is natural pheasant tail, and you won't need many fibres. I'm going to take off just 2, pull them off, and I'm going to trim up the points to get rid of the weaker area and tie that in. So, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the thread to help strengthen the pheasant tail and keep it in place. And wind that on. Up the shank towards the bead. But don't go right up to the bead, because we're going to put on a collar, and that little bit of space will be very helpful. And tie off the pheasant tail and trim it up. Now the glitter rib, won't need many turns, 3 or 4. And tie that off. And trim up the excess glitter. And now for the collar that I was talking about, we're going to use CDC. This is a natural brown CDC feather. I'm just going to pull back the longer fibres to leave the point, and I'm going to trim off the point for tying in. Like so. Now the amount of turns that you will want for this collar, maybe one, maybe two, depending upon the feather that you're using, the CDC. That's one, and I think that is enough. So I'll just tie that off. And trim up the feather. I'll just pull these fibres back. And I'm going to create a little black collar. See, there's a little bit of stalk there, which I'll take off. And before I tie it off, I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on the thread. And tie off the fly. And trim up the thread. Right, now these fibres, I'm going to take the fly out of the vise because I'm going to trim them up. I don't want them longer than the length of the tail. So I'm just going to trim them up with my nails, which is marginally better than using scissors, although I don't have particularly long nails. Yeah. And this, of course, is meant to create a little bit of movement as the fly is trundling along the river towards the fish that is sitting there waiting for your fly to arrive. Hope you enjoyed the tying. A simple tying, but a very effective fly for sight fishing. Do subscribe and hit the bell, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for viewing. Bye.